deep under the ocean at night, where the pressure can crush bone and the sun never reaches. Meet the giant Moray eel, an absolute nightmare built by evolution. This thing packs a terrifying weapon, a second set of jaws hidden deep in its throat, the pharyngeal jaw. Just like the creature from the movie Alien. When the outer jaws bite down and lock the prey in place, the inner ones launch forward, sinking their fangs and dragging the victim straight into the stomach. To take down a giant moray, you have to invade its world and hunt it on its own turf. Just you, the freezing black water. Hunting a monster in these deep reef crevices means going into its territory. No bait, no waiting on a boat. You dive straight into the pitch black. Kenson kicks down to the ocean floor. His flashlight beam is the only thing cutting through the absolute dark. Spear gun leveled, ready. One precise shot rips through the water. It pins the monster just inches before those fangs can sink into Kenson's arm. But a speared moray doesn't just quit. It writhes, twisting itself into a violent knot. If those jaws get loose, they'll tear through a wetsuit like butter. Kenson moves in fast. He whips out a heavy-duty set of steel tongs and clamps down hard right behind the eel's head, locking those double jaws shut for good. The skin is covered in a thick, toxic slime. You have to scrub it clean before the blade even touches it. This isn't a delicate slice. This is surgical extraction, pulling thick, muscular strips of meat right out of its armor. That pale, snake-like flesh can't be treated like ordinary fish. So, do you know the one vital step that changes a poisonous risk into a culinary masterpiece? Under the light, the flesh almost glows. Cold, clean, deceptively elegant. A blade will chip against that volcanic armor. You need heavy-duty shears to crack this vault. Find the joints, one calculated twist. We're unlocking the shell, pulling out a solid, flawless tube of pure white meat without tearing a single fiber. Drop those massive armor-plated claws straight into the steamer. The second that rolling heat hits, the raw muscle tightens instantly, transforming from a pale, translucent jelly into thick chunks of snow-white meat. And once those shells crack open, pure ocean sweetness pours out with the steam. No heavy seasoning, no complicated sauces. Maybe a light seafood dip for hot pot at most, because meat this clean doesn't need to be hidden. Just imagine dipping those giant claw sections straight into a bubbling pot, letting the broth soak up all that natural sweetness while the meat stays unbelievably firm and juicy. Think about it. You drag an armored monster out of a freezing volcanic abyss. Then minutes later, it's sitting at the center of the table, like luxury seafood reserved for kings. That's the moment every brutal second out there finally becomes worth it. The Gulf of Alaska, a place where a calm surface is just a lie, until something massive starts pulling back. 300 feet down in the freezing black, the line screams. It's tight enough to snap. You don't know what's on the other end. All you know is the boat is starting to shake. Farmers call them barn doors. Hell's gatekeepers. They sit at the bottom for decades, just waiting for someone brave enough to pull. The Pacific halibut, a creature as flat as a tombstone, but packed with 400 pounds of raw muscle. It doesn't hunt with speed. It hunts with cold, deep-sea patience. 30 years of sitting in the mud, blending into the dark so well that sonar misses it. But the second it's hooked, the ocean explodes. One tail flick can shatter a leg or launch a man off the deck. For these sea farmers, this isn't a catch. It's a heavyweight title fight. Then you bring it into the light, and things get weird. This bottom-dwelling monster turns out to have meat that's pure ivory, soft, sweet, pristine. It's the ultimate ingredient for the world's most expensive kitchens.
As well. You know what? That is on a very, very expensive.
The two welcome aboard.
But here's the real question. What's scarier? A monster that's lived in the dark for 30 years? Or the fact that humans will risk everything just for one bite? Now the art begins. Carbon steel blade, scalpel sharp, gliding through the skin. This isn't just butchery, this is fletching. The ultimate breakdown. 4 blocks of snow-white meat, 40 pounds each. No pin bones, 0 waste. Pure precision. Look at the cheek meat, the hardest working muscle. Soft, pricey, an ocean diamond, liquid gold for the elite. 400 degrees, golden crust, juicy inside. It doesn't flake, it's firm. A veal steak from the sea, $100 a plate, a whole day's wages. A 1,000-mile journey from the ice to the table. Life traded for death. The abyss always collects its debt. Deep under the reef, total darkness, where the light dies, two glowing eyes, waiting, no rush, no chase, just an open mouth and total destruction. A nightmare from the Mesozoic era. 6 feet of mottled gray muscle, coiled in the ice. They call it the wolf eel, the guillotine of the North Pacific. In Alaska and British Columbia, fishermen say that pulling a fish up from reefs nearly 200 feet down isn't fishing. It's dragging something alive out of the abyss, but more like pulling a live trap out of the abyss. Don't let the lifeless corpse fool you. In North Pacific fishing ports, fishermen whisper a warning to each other. Wolf eels don't die when they stop breathing. The ocean doesn't talk, and the weak, they get chewed up. That's why when these things come up, everyone holds their breath. When sunrise, something starts cutting through the black water. The cable is screaming, howling in the Florida wind. The surface is quiet. Then it explodes. A silver streak faster than a blink, too fast for the human eye. Hawaiians call it ono. The world calls it something scarier, wahoo. The ocean's living bullet, 60 miles per hour, angler Dan McGarry was fishing off the coast of Kona and thought he'd just hooked a small marlin. But when the creature lunged up close to the side of the boat, everyone was stunned. It wasn't a marlin. It was a giant 190-pound wahoo, a living torpedo over 8 feet long, nearly pulling all the line off the reel. To this day, it remains the most terrifying speed legend in Hawaiian fishing. Its body is covered in neon blue stripes. Underwater, they glow like alien signals. But the second it dies, the magic vanishes. It turns to cold silver. The ocean doesn't need monsters to be deadly. Sometimes it just needs something perfect, moving faster than your fear. The Southern Ocean, Australia, 1,000 feet deep, crushing pressure, no sound, no oxygen, just the cold. But something is growing down here. Tyrants, armored, deep red, the Tasmanian king crab, 30 pounds of biological hardware, a living tank. It's ruled the seafloor for 3 decades.